It feels like just yesterday we were watching The Godfather for the very first time. Time flies so fast, but the warmth, the power, and the haunting beauty this film brought into our living rooms, that will never, ever fade. 54 years ago, in the golden year of 1972, Francis Ford Coppola introduced us to the Corleone family, and nothing in cinema was ever quite the same again. We held our breath. We leaned closer to the screen. We whispered the lines before the actors even said them. Today, my dear friends, let's slow down. Let's brew a warm cup of something comforting, settle into your favorite chair, and take a gentle trip down memory lane together. Let's see how the stars who made history with us have grown beautifully, gracefully in 2026. Kicking off our list at number 1, the man who gave cinema one of its most mythic characters of all time, Marlon Brando. He was 47 years old when he shuffled into that dark study, cotton stuffed in his cheeks, a cat purring in his lap, and with a whisper, just a whisper, commanded every single person watching to lean forward and hold their breath. 47 years old, and the world had never seen anything quite like it. What he gave us wasn't just a performance, it was a feeling. The feeling of being sheltered by someone immeasurably powerful, yet unexpectedly gentle. Don Vito was a man who loved his garden, bounced his grandchildren on his knee, and believed in justice in his own complicated, heartbreaking way. He made us feel safe, even inside a world of shadows. Marlon Brando went on to become one of the most celebrated and complex artists the screen has ever known. Last Tango in Paris, Apocalypse Now, the score. He lived a life as grand and as turbulent as the roles he chose. In 2004, at the age of 80, Marlon Brando left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. His garden scenes, his orange peel smile, the way he said, "I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse." These are gifts he left us forever. Coming in at number 2 is the man whose eyes told the entire story, Al Pacino. He was just 31 years old when he stepped onto that Sicilian wedding lawn, a decorated war hero in a neat suit, holding Kay's hand with quiet confidence. He was supposed to be the safe one, the one who escaped. And we watched breath by breath, scene by scene, as Michael Corleone became someone else entirely. Do you remember what it felt like to watch that transformation? Those eyes, those haunting, darkening eyes. We didn't want Michael to become the Don, and yet we understood why he had to. Pacino made us feel that tragedy so deeply that decades later, it still aches. In 2026, Al Pacino is a magnificent 85 years old, and he is still creating, still performing, still surprising us. He recently appeared in the Johnny Depp-directed film Maudit, and continues to be one of the most sought-after voices in cinema. Time has been extraordinarily kind to him. There's still that fire behind those legendary eyes. At 85, Al Pacino remains a living treasure of our shared cinematic history. What a gift. At number 3, the hottest flame in the whole Corleone family, James Caan. He was just about 31 years old when he played Sonny, passionate, explosive, loyal to a fault. Sonny Corleone wasn't a villain. He was a big brother who loved too hard and acted too fast. When his car was stopped at that toll booth. Even after all these years, many of us still can't watch that scene without flinching. James Caan poured every ounce of himself into Sonny, so much heart, so much physicality, so much warmth beneath all that rage. He earned an Oscar nomination for it, and rightly so. In the years that followed, he gave us so many more gifts. Misery, The Gambler, and of course the beloved Buddy, the elf's father in Elf, which introduced him to a whole new generation of admirers. He had been 31 when he first roared across our screens as Sonny. In July 2022, at the age of 82, James Caan left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. Sonny Corleone lives forever as fierce, as warm, and as unforgettable as the day we first met him. Number 4 goes to the beloved Robert Duvall, the quiet conscience of the Corleone family. He was 40 years old when he brought Tom Hagen to life. The steady hand, the measured voice, the one who understood the Corleones more deeply than almost anyone. Tom wasn't blood, but he was family. And Robert Duvall played him with such deep, lived-in humanity that we never once doubted it. Tom Hagen was the one you called when things fell apart. He was calm when everything else was chaos. And in those quiet moments, the way Duvall listened, the way he held a room with just a look, we understood what true, humble power feels like. He made us feel that there was always someone thoughtful watching over things. Robert Duvall went on to one of the most storied careers in all of American cinema, an Oscar for Tender Mercies, nominations for Apocalypse Now, The Great Santini, and The Judge. He acted into his 80s with the full authority of a man who had given everything to his craft. He had been 40 when he walked into the Corleone study for the first time. On the 15th of February, 2026, just weeks ago, at the magnificent age of 95, Robert Duvall left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. His family asked that we honor him by watching a great film, telling a good story around a table with friends, or taking a drive in the countryside to appreciate the world's beauty. What a perfect farewell from a man who lived so fully. At number 5, bringing a luminous warmth to our screens, Diane Keaton. She was only 25 years old, radiant, curious, and full of light when she stepped into Kay Adams' shoes. Kay was us. She was the outsider, the one who looked into the Corleone world with wide, wondering eyes and tried to understand it through love. Diane Keaton made Kay's hope feel so real. We rooted for her from the very first scene. Remember that last image of Kay, the door slowly closing? That single moment said everything about innocence lost, about loving someone you can no longer fully know. It broke our hearts in the most beautiful way. And it was all in Keaton's face, no dialogue needed. Diane Keaton went on to become one of Hollywood's most luminous souls. Annie Hall, Reds, Something's Gotta Give, Father of the Bride. She was a fashion icon, an architectural preservationist, a writer, and above all, a completely original human being who charmed everyone she ever met. She had been 25 years old when she first graced our screens as Kay. On the 11th of October 2025, at the beloved age of 79, Diane Keaton left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. Her family asked that fans honor her with donations to a local food bank or animal shelter because she loved her animals, and she believed in taking care of those who needed it most. How perfectly Diane. Number 6, bringing magic to our screens, the wonderful Talia Shire. She was around 25 years old when she played Connie, the heart of the Corleone family, the daughter, the sister, the one who both held the family together and was quietly broken by it. Connie was a complicated portrait of loyalty and vulnerability, and Shire played every note of it with breathtaking emotional truth. Did you notice how Connie's joy at her own wedding was mixed with something unspoken? The way she danced, the way she laughed, but also the way she looked, sometimes as if she already sensed the life ahead of her. That complexity, that depth, that was all Talia Shire. And of course, she gave us another icon in Adrian from the Rocky franchise, earning a second Academy Award nomination and cementing herself as one of cinema's most versatile and beloved performers. Her sons, Jason Schwartzman and Robert Schwartzman, are both carrying the creative flame forward beautifully. In 2026, Talia Shire is a glowing 79 years old, still beautiful, still vibrant, still very much with us. She appeared in her brother Francis Ford Coppola's epic Megalopolis in 2024 and continues to be one of the most graceful presences in cinema. Seeing her still shining means everything. At number 7, one of the most quietly extraordinary actors who ever lived, John Cazale. He was around 36 years old when he played Fredo, the middle brother, the gentle one, the one who needed a little more love than the family knew how to give. Fredo Corleone was not the strongest or the smartest. He was just a person trying to be enough. And John Cazale made us feel every single ounce of that longing. There is something about Fredo that stays with you. That quiet heartbreak feeling overlooked by the people you love most is something so many of us have felt in some corner of our hearts. John Cazale gave that feeling a face, and it was a face full of such gentle, aching humanity. In his entire career, John Cazale appeared in only 5 feature films. 5 films, and every single one of them was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. The Godfather, The Conversation, The Godfather Part 2, Dog Day Afternoon, The Deer Hunter, 5 for 5. There has never been anyone else like him. At age 36, when he first showed us Fredo, John Cazale left us in 1978 at just 42 years old. He left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. His 5 films are a permanent part of cinema's soul, and so is he. Coming in at number 8, the warm, wonderful Richard S. Castellano. He was around 38 years old when he played Clemenza, the big, loyal, lovable capo who could cook a mean pot of sauce and carry out the family's most delicate business with equal ease. Clemenza was the Corleone world in miniature. Warm and frightening, funny and formidable. Leave the gun, take the cannoli. 7 words. 7 words that became one of cinema's most beloved lines, delivered with such perfect, deadpan warmth by Castellano that audiences laughed and shivered at the same time. That was the genius of his performance. Richard Castellano gracefully stepped away from the Hollywood lights to find beautiful peace in everyday life in his later years. In 1988, at the age of 55, he left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. Take the cannoli, indeed. At number 9, a face that could fill a room with unease, Sterling Hayden. He was 55 years old, commanding, weathered, and formidable when he played Captain McCluskey, the corrupt police captain whose arrogance made him unforgettable. McCluskey was the face of institutional corruption power used coldly and carelessly. Hayden made him feel chillingly real. Before The Godfather, Sterling Hayden had already carved out an extraordinary career, most memorably as General Jack D. Ripper in Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove. He was a sailor, a writer, a man who lived a life as adventurous as any he portrayed on screen. Having given us McCluskey at age 55, Sterling Hayden left us in 1986, at the age of 70. He left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. Number 10 goes to the electrifying Al Lettieri. He was around 43 years old when he stepped into the role of Sollozzo, smooth, dangerous, and utterly convincing as a man who believed he was always the cleverest person in any room. Sollozzo was the spark that set everything alight, and Lettieri played him with a coiled, magnetic intensity that made every scene feel like the calm before a storm. That restaurant scene, the tension, the Sicilian dialogue, the roar of the elevated train was one of cinema's most perfectly constructed moments. And at the center of it, Al Lettieri, mesmerizing and terrifying in equal measure. Having lit up our screens at 43, Al Lettieri left us in 1975 at just 47 years old. He left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. At number 11, bringing quiet depth to our screens, Abe Vigoda. He was around 50 years old when he played Tessio, the oldest, most loyal of Vito Corleone's capos, a man who had given decades to the family and yet, in a moment of desperate fear, made a choice that cost him everything. Vigoda played Tessio with such weathered, mournful dignity that we almost understood why he did it. Tell Michael it was only business. 4 words carrying 50 years of weight. Vigoda delivered them with an exhaustion and sadness that broke your heart just a little, even for a man who had betrayed the family he loved. That is extraordinary acting. Abe Vigoda went on to a beloved second act as Phil Fish in the television series Barney Miller, becoming a pop culture institution, adored by generations. He lived fully and gracefully for many, many years. At 50, when he first played Tessio, Abe Vigoda left us in January 2016 at the remarkable age of 94. He left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. 94 years of living. What a life. Coming in at number 12, the one and only Gianni Russo. He was around 28 years old when he played Carlo Rizzi, a complicated, troubled young man who married into the wrong family for the wrong reasons and never found his way out. It was Russo's very first acting role, and yet he held his own against some of the greatest talents in Hollywood history. Carlo was not an easy character to play or to watch, but Russo brought a raw, unguarded quality to the role that made Carlo feel painfully human, even at his worst. The scene where Sonny finds him in the street is one of The Godfather's most visceral and unforgettable moments. Gianni Russo's life story is, in itself, extraordinary. A memoir, a wine brand, a career as a singer and motivational speaker, and adventures that would fill several novels. He has lived with the energy and passion of a man who knows how lucky he is to have had even one moment in the light. In 2026, Gianni Russo is a vibrant 82 years old, still telling stories, still performing, still very much a living piece of cinema history. Seeing him carry that spark all these years later is a genuine joy. And rounding out our list at number 13, the unforgettable John Marley. He was around 64 years old when he played Jack Woltz, the arrogant Hollywood mogul who made the catastrophic mistake of refusing Don Corleone's request. Marley played Woltz with such blustering, confident vanity that his eventual undoing became one of the most iconic scenes in all of cinema history. The morning scene, the scream, the white sheets. You know exactly what we mean, and even after 54 years, it is still one of cinema's most perfectly calibrated moments of dread and dark humor. And it wouldn't have worked half as well without Marley's full, committed performance. Before The Godfather, John Marley had already earned an Academy Award nomination for his heartbreaking work in Love Story. He was a character actor of genuine depth and range. At 64, when he gave us that unforgettable awakening, John Marley left us in 1984, at the age of 76. He left us a beautiful and timeless legacy that feels like a warm hug every time we rewatch the film. And there they are, friends. 13 extraordinary human beings who gathered in 1972 and created something that the world has never forgotten and never will. Some of them are still here, still glowing, still creating Al Pacino, Talia Shire, and Gianni Russo carrying the torch of that extraordinary film into 2026. And those who have already walked ahead of us into the quiet. They left us so much. They left us every frame, every whispered line, every moment of grace, fear, laughter, and heartbreak that lives inside The Godfather. That is a gift that belongs to all of us, forever. Every time we press play, every time those opening notes wash over us and that cat settles into the dawn's lap, they are all here again, every one of them, young and alive and magnificent. Looking back, how old were you when you first watched The Godfather, and who were you watching it with? Was it your father, your grandfather, an older sibling who insisted this was something you needed to see? Share your precious memories in the comments below. Let's build a time machine together, one story at a time. And now a little test to see who the true fans are. The most iconic line in The Godfather is, "I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse." Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Comment A or B to prove you're a true fan. There is no wrong answer here because honestly, both lines live rent-free in all of our hearts forever. And don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming, nostalgic journeys like this one. We'll keep the memories alive together.